the ultimate guide to AWS cloud security threats, types, defense strategies, and solutions. This podcast is brought to you by Business Compass LLC. We are an Amazon Web Services advanced consulting partner. We build and migrate workloads to Amazon Cloud. Our website is businesscompassllc.com. Our phone number is 973-638-2228. Our email address is contact@businesscompassllc.us. Cloud security is critical to modern computing, especially for organizations leveraging AWS's robust and scalable cloud services. This podcast explores security threats, their defense strategies, and the specific AWS solutions that can help mitigate these risks. SQL injection, SQL understanding the threat. SQL injection, SQL, is a common attack vector where malicious actors manipulate SQL queries to gain unauthorized access to a database. This can lead to data breaches, data loss, and unauthorized data modifications. Defense strategies. Parameterized queries. Always use parameterized queries to prevent attackers from injecting malicious SQL code. Input validation. All user inputs must conform to expected formats. Least privilege. Ensure database accounts have the least privilege necessary to perform their tasks. AWS solutions. AWS WAF. Web Application Firewall can help filter and monitor HTTP requests, blocking malicious SQL attempts. Amazon RDS provides built-in security features such as network isolation, encryption, and automatic patching. Cross-site scripting, XSS examining malicious script injection attacks. Cross-site scripting, XSS, involves injecting malicious scripts into web applications, which then execute in the context of a user's browser, potentially stealing sensitive information or performing unauthorized actions. Defense strategies. Content Security Policy, CSP. Implement CSP to restrict sources from which content can be loaded. Input sanitization. Sanitize all user inputs to remove potentially malicious code. Output encoding. Encode data before rendering it to the browser to prevent the execution of injected scripts. AWS solutions. AWS WAF can block malicious requests that attempt XSS attacks. Amazon CloudFront integrates with AWS WAF to provide additional layers of security phishing. Exploring the tactics used to trick users. Phishing involves tricking users into revealing sensitive information, such as login credentials, by masquerading as trustworthy. Defense strategies. User education. Train users to recognize phishing attempts and report suspicious emails. Multi-factor authentication, MFA. Implement MFA to add an extra layer of security. Email filtering. Use email filtering solutions to block phishing emails. AWS solutions. AWS SES. To reduce phishing risks, this can be configured with email authentication methods like SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. AWS IM provides MFA capabilities to secure user accounts. Man-in-the-middle, MITM, attacks. Understanding how communication can be intercepted. MITM attacks involve intercepting and potentially altering communications between two parties without their knowledge. Defense strategies. Encryption. Use robust encryption protocols, for example, TLS, for all communications. Certificate pinning. Ensure the client only accepts the correct server certificate. Secure Wi-Fi. Use secure Wi-Fi networks and VPNs to protect communications. AWS solutions. AWS Certificate Manager simplifies SSL/TLS certificate management. AWS VPN provides secure connections between on-premises networks and AWS. DDoS, distributed denial of service, attacks. Examining large-scale traffic attacks. DDoS attacks overwhelm a system with internet traffic, rendering it unavailable to legitimate users. Defense strategies. Traffic filtering. Filter out malicious traffic before it reaches your application. Rate limiting. Implement rate limiting to control the number of requests. Scalable architecture. Use scalable infrastructure to handle sudden traffic spikes. AWS solutions. AWS Shield provides advanced DDoS protection. AWS CloudFront distributes traffic across multiple servers to mitigate DDoS impacts. Bot malware. Understanding the threat of system infection and data damage. Malware can infect systems, leading to data corruption, unauthorized access, and operational disruption. Defense strategies. Anti-malware software. Use anti-malware software to detect and remove threats. Regular updates. Keep systems and software updated with the latest security patches. Network segmentation. Segment networks to limit the spread of malware. AWS solutions. Amazon Guard Duty monitors for malicious activity and anomalies. AWS Inspector assesses applications for vulnerabilities and deviations. Credential stuffing. Exploring the use of stolen login credentials. Credential stuffing involves using stolen usernames and passwords to gain unauthorized access to accounts. Defense strategies. MFA. Implement MFA to make it harder for attackers to use stolen credentials. Password policies. Enforce strong password policies and encourage regular changes. Login attempt monitoring. Monitor and limit failed login attempts. AWS solutions. AWS IAM provides MFA and other identity management features. Amazon Cognito secures user sign-up, sign-in, and access control. Zero-day exploits. Understanding how unknown vulnerabilities are exploited. Zero-day exploits target unknown vulnerabilities to the software vendor, leaving systems vulnerable. Defense strategies. Regular patching. Apply patches as soon as they become available. Vulnerability scanning. Regularly scan systems for vulnerabilities. Intrusion detection. Identify and respond to potential threats using intrusion detection systems. AWS solutions. Amazon Inspector helps identify vulnerabilities and automate assessments. AWS WAF can provide virtual patching against known vulnerabilities. API security flaws. Examining vulnerabilities in APIs. APIs can be vulnerable to attacks that exploit flaws in their design or implementation, potentially exposing sensitive data. Defense strategies. Authentication and authorization. Ensure APIs have robust authentication and authorization mechanisms. Input validation. Validate all inputs to prevent injection attacks. Rate limiting. Implement rate limiting to protect against abuse. AWS solutions. Amazon API Gateway provides secure and scalable API management. AWS WAF can protect APIs from common web exploits. Insider threats. Understanding security risks posed by internal actors. Insider threats involve employees or contractors misusing their access to harm the organization. Defense strategies. Access control. Implement strict access control policies. Monitoring and auditing. Monitor user activity and regularly audit access logs. User training. Train employees on security best practices and the importance of data protection. AWS solutions. AWS CloudTrail provides detailed logging of AWS account activity. AWS IAM manages user access and permissions. Guide to utilizing AWS security solutions. Exploring defense strategies and usage methods. AWS WAF protects web applications from common web exploits. AWS Shield offers advanced DDoS protection. Amazon GuardDuty provides intelligent threat detection. AWS IAM manages identity and access with MFA. AWS CloudTrail logs and monitors AWS account activity. Amazon Cognito secures user authentication and authorization. AWS Certificate Manager manages SSL/TLS certificates. Conclusion. Protecting your AWS environment requires a comprehensive approach to security, encompassing threat identification, defense strategies, and leveraging AWS's robust security services. By understanding the various threats and implementing the right solutions, you can safeguard your cloud infrastructure against malicious attacks. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Please share this podcast, visit our website and follow our social media links.